Okay, welcome to Evidence-Based Audio, number 129, and this is the BS Asymmetry Principle. I guess I'm not supposed to say the real word. As usual, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, you can click a link in the description to join the chat. I'm really not sure. Somebody tried to invite me onto a TikTok thing but I don't understand how to do that. So sorry, I'm not gonna mess with that right now. Hey, Reflex Point Havad, how are you doing? Robotech Forever, I guess. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Elliot. Okay, so this week, there's a reason we're going to be talking about the BS asymmetry principle. I'll bring that up later. So first of all, what do I got here? Okay, so there's yet another neural DSP plugin. I'm really not sure about these things. Like, why don't they just make a single plugin and stop selling what should be presets and maybe models as separate plugins? I'm just not sure. Like, I know it's sound business, but you can end up paying so many times over for these. I mean, look at this, like 119 euros, whatever that comes out to in pounds. After you buy like 5 or 6 of these things, man, you could have just bought one of those hardware units if you really wanted a hardware unit. I mean, something like Amplitude, where it's kind of like the games where you got in-app purchases. You buy new like pedals or amplifiers or whatever, but it comes with kind of a lot of stuff already. Or, Helix native, they give you the whole thing. Whatever's on that on the hardware unit, they give you in the software. I know there's some in between, like THX, the overloud stuff, where they give you a lot of stuff in different packs, and it could be a little bit pricey, or Revolver is more in-app purchases. Bias effects kind of have in-app purchases, but they have a lot of stuff that's already there. These really feel like every time they make these things, I mean, they might have like a couple effects or whatever, but it seems like you're constantly getting different ones. Let's just take a look at what we got for plugins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're already past the point of buying like a full-blown Helix or something, I don't know. The other thing, so I'm a little biased. You guys know I'm always having trouble with Line 6, but I really am loving both the Helix DSP, floor unit, and the Helix plugin. When you get this neural stuff, do they add these algorithms into the quad cortex when you're when they make these things, or is this just completely on a separate path? I mean, if they were, oh man, imagine if they made you pay for each one of these. That would be kind of, sorry, I'm just adjusting something. That would be kind of crazy if you had to pay for this on the quad cortex. So far, I think their updates have been free, and I think they've actually had some substantial updates, but I don't like this model. And I know we're considering for us making one of our types of plugins. It's coming later on, possibly going to have in-app purchases. And I'm really scared because I don't want to end up where you're just like making crippleware. I want to make something really functional, but you could buy add-ons for it. Or maybe we just won't. Maybe we just release the whole thing. I don't know. I don't want to set the price point too high at the beginning, but this kind of, it's not just this neural stuff. There was the BrainWorks stuff. Like, everybody keeps releasing what seems like they would be just little models inside another plugin. One of the problems is, to me, that you're reinventing the wheel each time. You can't just mix and match these things. Like, I don't know if it comes with the same effects or what. Honestly, if I was going to buy these kind of one-off things, Probably buy the Audio Assault stuff. I know it's allegedly not as good, but how many times do we have to ABX test this stuff before we kind of realize that it's all kind of sounds the way we think it sounds? You know, it's not necessary. No, nobody's doing any magic. Anyway, okay. So kind of related. Look at all these preset packs. Some of these guys, they don't make them too bad. Like this Brit Profiles, it's not too bad. I was actually looking at this one. Maybe it's cool. So I'm looking at it for the Helix, but you know, you're doing this for Axe effects and probably Quad Cortex as well and everything else. This guy, this Fremen guy, everybody seems to like. Let's just look at these packs. So I'm gonna go to the Helix. Again, sorry, I own a Helix right now, so I'm kind of just looking at what's in the water for these. So here's like all these different packs. Tons of them. Of course, the price isn't on here, so I'm going to go look at the price on each one. It's like $50 for this pack. You know how many of these packs you want. I know there's one where I kind of like parts of each of them, and it would have cost me like $300 or $400 just to get 3 presets that I wanted. I mean, it's a lot of different stuff. It's starting to feel like the impulse modeling industry where there's just so many impulses out there, and every day there's a new one for $5 or whatever, and everybody thinks they got to spend it. It's not all that much money, but it adds up when you buy a 5 billion of these things. So I don't know. It kind of freaks me out. Like here's another one. What is this? Stu Tone Junkies. All these different Helix presets, and here's a bunch of IRs. So some of these guys kind of pack them all in one, but look at even 3 Sigma's got. Look at this. Look at all these. You know, it's 3 Sigma. They're going to have a pile. They got tons and tons of impulses. If I was going to buy one, I mean, again, like I'm going to spend $100 on this. This guy, Jason, I hope I'm not going to say your name wrong. Sadides. I don't know how you say your name. I would like to buy this guy's stuff because he made a lot of really good videos, not just on Helix stuff. He actually makes a lot of good videos on live guitar stuff. So I'd love to support him. But I don't really like any of his presets. It's not really for the stuff that I need. And I know, man, there's 20 of you guys telling me right now, dude, the only good presets are the ones you make yourself. What do you have somebody go to the bathroom for you? You know, like, I don't know, all the things you always see on the forums, whatever. I don't care. With something as complicated as this, presets are just a way to get it started to listen to the capabilities of some of these tones or to listen to how other people think these things should sound. When you go and buy an amplifier at the store, when you go buy a Marshall, what are they up to now? I don't know, 2000 or whatever. Or let's say you're buying an old Marshall 800. That's a preset. You may not think so, but functionally, it's the hardware equivalent of a preset. This guy's determined what your range of EQs are. And you of course you can change them, but they're definitely giving you a range that you can operate in. He's giving you a range of gain. He's giving you a routing system. These are all preset things. So it's not really any different than going out there and trying out different hardware. So when you say just go make your own, you wouldn't say that with the amplifier. Okay, some of you would. I know some of you guys that do, but for the most part, we go to the store and we buy an amplifier, and we hopefully trust that the manufacturer had the right range of adjustment in mind for us. I mean, everything's going to be different for every guitar and every player and everything like that, but it's going to... We're hoping that the wiggle room that they've left us allows us to operate the way we'd like. It's a preset. Take issue with me with that, go ahead. The link is in the description. You can jump right on here and debate me about that. I welcome it. I'm just going to say it's a preset. So sorry. Yeah, I'll put the chat overlay on so you guys can actually type. What do we got next? Okay. Okay. So let me read this to you. This Reginald Finley, the infidel guy, the godfather of all podcasting, and the guy who introduced most of us, I know not all of us, but most of us, our first time we really heard and understood about Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, James Randi, the thing that launched like the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, tons of science, a lot of science communicators that we otherwise wouldn't have known. Probably wouldn't have known Neil deGrasse Tyson so well either, that come to think of it. He had on his page Alberto Brandolini's bullshit asymmetry principle. And here's how it goes. And this is one of those rules that you'll always find around the studio. The amount of energy necessary to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude bigger than to produce it. And Mark Twain said something similar a long time ago, where he said, what did he say about the truth? A lie can get around the world 2 times before the truth can even get its shoes on. Something like that. And this is also something that, if you guys are familiar with debates, like the thing called the Gish Gallop, there was this guy named Dwayne Gish, this creationist. And what he would do is just spout a gajillion lies in a row so that you would have to spend all your debate time answering his lies, because it would take him 5 seconds to lie and it'd take you 5 minutes to refute it. So that, this bullshit asymmetry principle really just spells it out. And this is something that's so important. When you guys go to spend your hard-earned money on recording software, on microphones or cables, right? It just takes a couple lies by a couple manufacturers or forum parrots. It takes a really long time to show why they're wrong. So I always have to ask people, is it important to you whether or not your beliefs are true? If you don't care, go ahead, spend the money on the magical mic preamp and the magical speaker cable that sounds the same as everything else. But if you do care about whether or not your beliefs are true, ask for some evidence. So when somebody's just spouting nonsense, if your immediate reaction is to demand evidence for that claim, it'll take them just as long to lie as it will be for us to fix their lies. And you can end the asymmetry of bullshit. We can actually put it back in its place. The issue comes when people don't care whether or not their beliefs are true, right? Because if you do, you can, like they always say, like, that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. It's kind of true, right? You can certainly do that. And if you do that, your wallet will thank you. The sound of your albums will thank you. You get a lot more done for a lot less money and a lot less time teeter-tottering about what to get. But where this really matters right now is for this show, I have to be really careful about not just the monetization. I just don't want to get it completely blocked. So I'm going to say the bullshit asymmetry principle, when it comes to the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, is it's mind-blowing. It takes volumes of time to deal with these lies that the anti prophylactic shot people say, and I'll talk about this a lot more at the end, because if they do shut my stream down for mentioning these topics, we'll have gotten the rest of it through. So let me get back to that. Wanted to look at. I was having some trouble with the yesterday, and some dropouts. And I hadn't realized that Line 6... Okay, so as much as I don't like Line 6 for a lot of things, I do love their wireless products. I have a Relay G30. I have a G50 on the way, so if you guys can tell me about that thing, please do. But anyway, I read when I was searching for fixes for dropouts about this RF1 and RF2 modes for their wirelesses. And I was like, well, what is this? And there was like a picture that came with some of these things that says that now they have RF1 and RF2 mode. So here's the carrier frequencies. I know you guys can't see this on Instagram or whatever. These are two different ranges of frequencies that these wireless devices can operate in. And it's kind of freaky that they are really close to each other. So it's... I was thinking, this is going to be like 2.4 gigahertz versus 5 gigahertz or whatever. It's not. They're close. Like channel 1, RF mode 2. I don't know what all these F things mean, but one's 2425 and one's 2402. These things are really close. In fact, the channels are really, really close. These are digital systems, so it's probably not as crazy as back when we were using UHF systems. But apparently, as long as you got the right firmware, you can do this crazy clicking back and forth thing on the wireless, on the transmitter to change between RF1 and RF2. There was yeah, let's see. So with the G30, turn the transmitter off, press and hold the channel select button while the select button... Oh, no, sorry, the belt pack. Let me get to this. With the transmitter off, set the channel select slide switch to channel 6, turn on the transmitter. Immediately after the blue light blinks, slide the channel select switch completely left to channel 1, back to channel 6. Do it 3 times in a row. And then a blue LED will flash and tell you which mode you're in. There were some people. Let me see if I can't find RF. There was a picture that really showed what's going on with these things. Anyway, it was just a way to get out of the dropouts, but they're so close together. I wonder if you guys could tell me about, especially if you're in Europe or Japan. Holy crap. Let me know about this, the RF1 and RF2 modes. What are you guys using? And let me just, I swear there was a really good picture that had switching support topic, how to determine, there was a picture, that ain't it. Sorry, I'm looking for a link. I should have had this, I thought I had this queued up actually. Not that one. Okay, here it is. Here's the picture. So it says, note, your new transmitter may interfere with older Line 6 wireless transmitters. Your new transmitter is shipped with RF2 mode enabled. It is also capable of running in RF1 mode. Please note that RF1 and RF2 mode devices can interfere with each other. It is important that all Line 6 wirelesses used in close proximity to each other be operated in the same mode. The channels are different, but the frequencies are different. But so I'm wondering, I mean, how is this any different than using a different channel? It's interesting. I'm not really sure what the explanation of who and what and why you should be running in these different modes. They seem to be different channels, or kind of splitting the channels, but I'd love some more information on this, actually. It's pretty confusing to me. Okay, so now let us have a look at some new junk. So Trident, there's a plugin from new Trident Tiltration plugin now shipping. I'm not sure that this is made by Trident. It sure looks like it. There's a picture. It looks like a Trident thumbnail. It's from Trident Audio Developments. Jeez, come on, cookie. Okay, accept. Good. Go away. It says Tiltration plugin. Saturator Tilt EQ plugin. The LTS filtration from Trident Audio Development is an entirely new design concept incorporating multiple features from various brands, blah, blah, blah. It's a saturator, and I think it's got a tilt EQ. Yes, it does. So this is a tilt EQ. It looks like an old Trident product. I know a lot of people, if they have graphics that make it look like an API or Trident, they're going to be like, oh, this makes my mix sound better. So this isn't a bad place to look, I guess. What do these things cost? $59, $60. Not bad. This is a tilt EQ, so things are a little different. And but you know, how many of these other EQs do we have where it's just, and you think you're doing it different, and then when we actually go and try and EQ match these things, we can with other EQs. There's this other thing, Sick Tone DSP is a thing called Space Invader. Here's a description. From another planet, phi-based serial delay with multi-mode distortion, cross-time modulation, and mixing of individual delay line taps. This thing looks insane, man. I mean, absolutely bonkers. But it has a Space Invader symbol on it. So, you know, it trips me out that it's so hard to find effects that we could easily get, digital effects that we could easily get in the 80s. You know, we're always belly aching about the reverbs, right? But, you know, some of the delays that came out in the early 90s on the Digitech stuff, like these clustered delays, da-da-da, 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 they've actually been kind of hard to find. And this looks like one of those things that might just give it to you. So go check this out, sicktone.com. They got a lot of other plugins, it looks like. I'm not sure what this thing costs. Where's the downloads of the beta? I don't know. These are all betas. Maybe they don't cost anything right now. Interesting. I'd go check it out. Okay, what else we got? Okay, so right when we're talking about magic speaker cables and everything else, here is D&D modules stereo tower. I don't know what this is. Three-way monitoring switcher with sub-mute and trim. So this is a passive switching system. Is this to switch between 3 different speakers, and I'm not sure if you can switch between sources. It's got 3 trim pots. What do we got for... Oh, I was trying to zoom in here. So let's see... The goal was to have a fully passive monitoring switcher with a sub-mute and the option to trim the 3 outputs to get consistent listening levels when switching from a pair of monitors to the others. Now, this is a perfectly sensible product. I know that right now we have the Mackie Big Knob. Behringer has some kind of switching monitor controller thing that people have been using for a while. Here at my place, every room's got a PreSonus central station. Does the same kind of thing, but this was a passive one, so allegedly for the cork sniffers, Viscontiers, sorry, you know, because it's passive, it's going to sound 5 billion times better. 372 euros. If you want a passive one, this isn't... I expected when I saw this thing that this is going to be some audiophile nonsense. It's going to be like $20,000 for a basic switch. This one actually uses relays, so it's actually decent. So 372 euros if you really wanted a passive thing. This isn't bad. I want to hate it, but I'm sorry, I can't. If you really want a passive speaker switcher, there you go. I think I would way rather have a central station or any of the other things with a lot more options, but there you go. Okay, so Analog Obsession has released SSQ. Here's their Patreon. I'm not sure Is this the only way we can really get to them? SSQ, which is a SSL, and yet another SSL EQ. So again, you think these EQs are really doing something that different than each other? How many different SSL EQs do you need? And could you pass an ABX test of me taking another EQ, like maybe a stock console EQ, and running signal through it? You think you could? I would like to know. If you can, let me know, because that would be an interesting test, and I think we could probably buy one of these things and give them out to somebody who could actually win a test like that. Not sure what this thing costs. They don't list the price right here, so kind of uncool, I think, but whatever. Okay. Just when we were talking about whatever that Behringer thing was called, I forget what it was even called. Now they have something called the, let's see if I can find it. I mean, this is, every once in a while, Behringer puts out, remember I had the M32 for a while, it's pretty crazy. So this is the Studio XL, and they're calling it a high-end studio control and communication center with Midas preamps, 192 kilohertz 2x4 USB audio interface, and VCA stereo tracking. Now, I'm not sure how well this would integrate in an existing setup that already had, you have your audio interface already, but let's take a look at what this has for I/O here. Let me see if I can find a back panel. Okay. So we got a talkback mic input. It might have an internal one too. Oh yeah, so there's a switch between internal and external. And a foot switch to turn on and off the talkback mic. Nice. We've got 3 monitor outs. +4, -10 switch, a studio phones amp output, 2-track output, an auxiliary mix in, I think, 5 and 6 in, 3 and 4 in, balanced, unbalanced, all these, and a combo jack for the 2 main inputs. So this is a pretty comprehensive source selector and output, but it's also an audio interface. I suppose if you really had a laptop and you just wanted to pull it up, you don't need to actually record anything. It's funny. They said Midas mic preamps. So is that for the talkback mic, or do they have mics on this thing? Let's see what's on the top. Okay, you got a bunch of not trim pots, but actual volume controls for the inputs, for the monitor selects, talkback, where it's going. It's pretty much like a central station on a box. Don't have the SPDIF as far as I could tell, but it's also an audio interface. Not sure how much this is going to cost. It's got a big fat knob. Looks pretty good. But does the front actually have like mic preamps on it or something? No, it's got headphones. Interesting. 2 headphones out. So I'm not sure what the Midas mic preamps, unless that's the inputs they're talking. Oh yeah, maybe that's the sources that you're switching between. So that first 2 channels is Midas mic preamps. Interesting. So what is this thing going to cost you? I have no idea. Do they have a price anywhere? I don't see a price. But it looks, again, remember that when you're using one of these type of things, all your audio ins and outs go through it on the desk, rather with the rack-mounted types. Your audio would go through that, and you'd maybe have another controller in your hand. Although, with the central station, one of its issues is that, well, one of the pluses and the minuses is that there's an actual volume knob that you use to control that the audio actually flows through in order to do the main volume. So this wouldn't be any worse than that in that regard. It's just that you can have a lot of cables running around and everything. But looks good. Good job on Behringer. Okay. And there's a new Duet out, Apogee Duet 3. And I don't like the claims Apogee makes. Of course, we all know Apogee was the converter business for a while there. That was it. Who knows if this works on Windows at all. Their ASIO drivers, once upon a time, were a Huge problem for a lot of people. It always seemed like they were just going on their name when they probably should have just teamed up with RME. But if you want a new Duet, there's a new Duet. What's the difference in here? Best in class Apogee conversion, 2 preamps, 2x4 USB, 2/4 inch instrument inputs, 1/8 inch stereo headphone out, onboard DSP. Do not care. But if you're one of those zero latency guys, this thing might be for you. Optimized for Apple Logic Pro, claiming to be Mac and Windows 10 compatible. So if you wanted a new Duet, go for it. Here's something. I didn't buy this particular product, but Mastering the Mix had a product that was like it was like a reference. I think it's actually called Reference, and you switch between your reference mixes or reference songs or whatever. And I actually like it. I haven't used it as much as I should have. I need to start using that. But they have Expose 2. Expose, so here's I'll just read what they say. Expose 2 is an audio quality control application that helps you identify issues with your music. So many tracks get distributed with poor EQ balance, true peak clipping, overcompression, phase issues, and more. We want you to catch these issues before it's too late. With Expose 2, you can deliver the best listening experience and release your music with confidence. I'm not really sure what this does, but it's not a very good description. But it kind of shows you what your tonal balance is and maybe your dynamic range and such. $70. They got a podcast. I know somebody I have some issues with runs the podcast, but you should probably check it out anyway. I think it's called Mastering the Mix. And he talks about Expose on there. And maybe you can figure out what that's about. Okay. I didn't know if I should even talk about this, but it's $30. JST. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get DMCA'd or whatever. Just released something called JST Demon Fuzz. It looks like a distortion box if you really want. Some people, they just got to have stuff with this guy's name on it. And for $30, that's not terrible. What has it got? JST Demon Fuzz is a beautifully dirty, texture-rich distortion plugin for tone design. Inspired by the designs of classic fuzz pedals, 3 distinct tones for a 3-way toggle that offers normal, bass boost, and dry, volume, tone, sustain, and input and output control noise gate. Interesting. Mix to blend the dry and process signals. So that's not bad. I wish everything had a mix knob on it. So if you really want JST stuff, $30. It's called Demon Fuzz. Okay. And, I don't know how much I can say about this without getting overly cynical. But here we got yet another for, $280. I guess it's not super terrible. Looks like a 500 series device. It's just called a ST552 analog tape emulator from HRK. It looks like, it does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make it sound like you got a tape. It's got a fabric control, a tape control, different drives. I don't know. Accurately models tape saturation, analog custom design circuitry, 30 or 15 inch per second tape mode, dry wet blending, thank you. HRK fabric circuit for extra harmonics. I don't know. I mean, if you really want one of these things, go for it. But silly. I think the plugins will do just the same thing. And that, I really think, for the most part, those guys who were constantly belly aching to get back to the days of tape never really had to run tape. It was a nightmare, man. Get real. Okay. We have a serious updates going to our AIX DSP stuff. A lot of things that I wanted to get done on Intuition, we weren't able to get done in time, but those will be coming. I think on Monday we're going to release stuff for real. That'll be a new dynamic EQ, new multi-band gate, new drum EQ, and like I said, these intuition updates. But if you want to try them ahead of time, get a hold of me and I'll send them to you. We can you can grab the betas. And so after that, I just want to say, when we're talking about the bullshit asymmetry principle, a lot of it, again, was about the Backstreet Boys reunion tour and Susan Wojcicki, whatever. Look, I ain't saying anything that's a lie. I'm going to tell the truth about the health. I'm not one of these people you need to censor constantly. People have told a lot of lies about the vaccine that cancels the Backstreet Boys. Because of these lies, so many people haven't gotten this vaccine that we were about to win. We were just about over this thing. And this whole issue was always going to be a race between vaccination and variation. If it took too long to get the vaccines out, the variants were going to not necessarily win, but they were going to get a good head start. What we didn't count on, and this is for several reasons, and it's hard for me to truly blame the people who some of the people who haven't gotten it, because they've been lied to so much that, you know, it's hard for them to know. But at this point, you just gotta just go do it. I don't care how many customers this costs us. Get your goddamn vaccine. I'm always up for debate. If you want to tell me why you shouldn't get the vaccine, come on a live debate with me. But until you can actually prove it, unless you're a doctor or whatever, quit believing that you, all by yourself, know better than all the science. Or stop spreading this natural news nonsense and all these Mercolas. Go ahead. Sue me for defamation, all you frauds, quacks, and whatever. I don't care. Take all my non-money. Stop lying to people. You're hurting people. You're killing people. And the worst part is, man, the Backstreet Boys reunion tour was just about over. We were beating it. But now it's back. It's kind of here in Hawaii. I think it's worse than ever. We had a 4-digit day yesterday. And now you've canceled all the other tours. So many people are out in the middle of the road right now with their tours canceled. They were just getting back. Just get your goddamn vaccine. You're killing the last bits of the music industry. Let us get back to work. Please. Again, if you think that you know better than all of science, than all of medicine, come on my show. People would love to see you beat me down over this thing. I have a lot more people who watch this stuff that hate me than people who like me. Trust me. You'll be an instant hero, and I won't be a martyr because they'll just kick me to the curb. So come tell me before you lie to other people. Quit lying to your family. Quit watching Gwyneth Paltrow and Alex Jones and all these other idiots that don't know what they're talking about. Aaron Brockovich. Just go get your goddamn vaccine. Unless you can prove you know better. But the crap you guys post, this nonsense that takes me hours to refute when it takes you seconds to spew, just go get your goddamn vaccine. I'll see you guys next week.